Well, strange things continue to happen in the desert. Here on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, we're going to try and make sense of a team that has just completed the lowest total by a team batting first to set a total. And guess what? The reason why we stress on it even more is it's because the first time in the tournament, a captain decided to win the toss and decide to bat first. So they've made a conscious decision, and we feel they've come up quite a few runs short, 142 for 4 and the completion of their 20 overs. This is how they finished. It was a decent start from David Warner, may not quite a firecracker start, but decent enough. Manish Pandey held the innings together. He knows the opposition, 51 of 38. But then those figures, that third man on the list, Wriddhiman Saha, 30 of 31, may have just slowed things down a little bit. Simon Doull in company of Joy Bhattacharjya. Joy, I'm going to come to you first. We did mention that batting position of Wriddhiman Saha, and we said, well, if he fixes it, well and good, but he didn't.
He couldn't. He wasn't up to it, and this is the problem. You see, why this thing about pinch hitters doesn't always work is that when a good batsman gets 8, 10, 12 balls to settle down, he's going to make the remaining balls count because he has the class to be able to find the gaps, the strength to be able to do it. The problem with Wriddhiman Saha is that he's no better at hitting a ball after 12 balls, being 12 balls in. That was the essential problem. So you either use him as a suicide, as a kamikaze batsman up front, or he gets out. And as Simon keeps saying, if Sunil Narine doesn't get runs, at least he does the courtesy of getting out without wasting balls. Today, Wriddhiman Saha has cost them 5 overs. 5 overs for 30 runs. It's gutted the middle of the inning. And here's my question, and I want to go back again to that. If you thought Wriddhiman Saha was not among your top 3 Indian batsmen because you had Vijay Shankar and even Abhishek Sharma and Piyush Garg playing ahead of him, why was he then batted before other people?
Yeah, it's a good question. As a follow-up to that, as we see the Hyderabad innings progression, I'd also like to ask Simon Doull, what's Kane Williamson thinking in the dugout now?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's coming down to Trevor Bayliss and whoever's making those decisions, along with David Warner. And David Warner is a big fan of Kane Williamson's. I'm sure he'd like him in that squad if he could. Now, it hasn't panned out. I thought Manish Pandey played really well. If they don't get runs from Warner and Bairstow at the top, yeah, David Warner got off to a start but didn't go on with it, then that's what I worry about the Sunrisers lineup. Nabi, does he offer you more with the ball than a local spinner is going to do? Shahbaz Nadeem, perhaps. Does he offer you more than that? I'm not sure he does. Does Kane Williamson offer you more with the bat? 100% he does. So have that protection of a Williamson there, play Shahbaz, leave Nabi out of it, and then you are better off because you've got local talent that is as good or equal to what you've got at the bottom of the order when you're playing those overseas players, except for Rashid. So that was the reasoning behind it. Look, they haven't done it. They haven't performed well enough. They're going to have to be amazing with the ball. We have seen, though, Hyderabad, in good form with the ball in years gone by. It's been their bowling that has been able to win them games, to defend lowish totals. So they're going to have to defend something fairly low here and put on a very special performance if they're to get out of this one.
In fact, Joy, since Simon brought that up, 140 used to be generally the average score in Hyderabad, and they would score it. You're thinking, not enough runs on the board, and they'd go out and defend it.
Yeah, true, but this is a different pitch. I don't think somewhere other than Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, none of the bowlers look as sharp as they did even maybe a year back. Even Rashid Khan, maybe people are playing him out, therefore they're not really attacking him and getting him the chance to get among wickets. But also look at it. Kolkata actually executed the game plan that they've always been talking about. That if you can bat Sunil Narine and Andre Russell in the top order, then you have the choice of 7 bowlers. And see how it worked out for them. They used Andre Russell only at the death. They got more out of Varun Chakravarti out there. And I think they might have thought, okay, we'll give him a couple of overs. He works, he doesn't work. But when you're in a situation like that, now even if you have young, inexperienced bowlers, somebody gets beaten up a bit, they can pull him off the lineup. And that's what's really worked for Kolkata. They didn't allow any of the bowlers to really get caught in a situation where they were bowling extra overs and getting hit.
And we talked about it at the very start when we had a look at the composition, Simon. We said Russell is there as a backup. Not that Ikamavi or Nagarkoti got smashed out of the attack. But he said, okay, fine, I've got an option. Chakravarti bowled well, let me give him the 4. Who can I turn to? Russell, 18 and 20.
I was looking at those figures there, and I was trying to add up as they were on the screen. I think it was 63 runs off the 8 overs that were bowled by the guys who bowled 2 apiece. So that's a good result. 63 runs, it's a 31 and a 32 off those 4 over spells. So you go, yep, take that every time. So they've done a very, very good job. The quality bowlers have bowled 4 apiece, and that was Chakravarti, Narayan and Cummins, and then everything else is spread around. But nobody's been hammered. 8 and over, 7 and over. You're happy with that when you're calling them your, not your full-time bowlers they are, but have got options. And that's what happens when you have options. If one guy has one expensive over, someone else is there to fill in. So that's the beauty of having those guys able to bowl you overs and bat in the top 5 or 6.
Let's talk about one man, because it again ties in with what we've been saying the last few days. Now, Twitter was abuzz with trying to make fun of that 15.3 for Pat Cummins. That's how many crores they paid for him. And apparently he went for approximately that many runs and over. The problem is the memo was wrong. He was supposed to go for about 15.3 in his full spell. And today he pretty much achieved that. Outstanding from Cummins. All the quality bowlers delivering. Simon.
Yeah, superb from Pat Cummins tonight. I thought he just got his length right, didn't he? He pulled that length, pushed that length up a little bit, actually. I thought he was too short against Mumbai. Got hammered square of the wicket far too often, but he just got it around about right, around about test match type length, top of off stump. And at 140 to 145 Ks, cramping the right-handers, coming around the wicket. He cramped David Warner early on as well. I thought he was really good. He's got a good slower ball. There was no doubt he was going to bounce back. He is world-class, and as we said at the halftime break there, the pressure would have got to him a little bit with that money and first game up and without a lot of net practice, but he would have worked really hard between the first game and today, and it proved.
Joy, have a look at this list, because if you see the kind of bowlers that you see, it's not normally a list you see. We talk about leg spinners doing well in T20 cricket, but look at that. Look at the quality of a Rabada, a Cottrell, a Shami, a Bumrah, a Bolt, a Pattinson, Nokia, and now, of course, you add Pat Cummins to this list.
Look, I have a very simple theory to this, and I'll go straight into that. You have not played cricket for 6 months. You've not really have nets. You've been in a lockdown. Okay, you come out of that. Anyone who's bowling at 140, 145 at you, and you think you're going to connect with him every time, it's not going to work. So the truth of it is, when you don't have too much match practice, batting somebody who's 145, 150, close to 150 is not going to be easy. So the Rabadas and the Cummins and those guys, the Norches of the world, are not going to be hit so easily. Those things happen when the guys have been playing for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Their eyes are set. They know what is happening. Look, it's never pleasant to hit bowlers at that pace. And, there are few in the world like Rohit Sharma or, do it. But under these circumstances, pure sheer pace and ability is going to be a problem for guys who haven't really held a bat for 3 months in between, 4 months in between.
Yeah, the percentage of wickets taken, Simon, is the real story behind this. Often, again, as I said, it's mystery spinners, leg spinners, wrist spinners who have been getting the bulk of the wickets. But we've got a large percentage to all these quality quick bowlers, Simon.
Yeah, and a lot of grass on these surfaces in the early part of this tournament. I think we will see that grass wear a little bit as the tournament goes on. So we're seeing a bit more pace, a little bit more bounce, particularly Abu Dhabi, Dubai. Not so much Sharjah. I needed a magnifying glass to find any grass on that surface the other day up there. But in these first 2 venues that we started at, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, there is pace and there's bounce, so that the quick bowlers will prosper. The thing about the spinners, they will come into the tournament in Sharjah and later in the piece as well, I think. And also, you think when the ball starts to turn a little bit, the grounds are nice and big, they'll really start to play their part. A quality spinner will still be okay. A Chahal, who's bowled well. We saw Chakravarti tonight. Quality spinners will still be okay, but I love the fact that in the early parts of the tournament, pace is dominating, and there is pace and bounce and a little bit of movement for the seam bowlers. So there's encouragement for them to bowl fast, and everybody loves seeing fast bowlers bowl fast.
I mean, the way Simon Doull is talking with that passion, you'd think he was also part of that tribe. Joy?
No, absolutely. I mean, and
62%. The only to throw a number at you, Joy. 62% is the number of wickets.
No, I look. Remember, this also, I think there's a higher proportion of overs they're bowling right now as well, and that proportion will go down as the tournament continues. So all that will balance out. But yes, the point of it is why we also prefer it is every year the IPL is held at the end of the season, where bowlers are also worn out, pitches are worn out, and they get hammered in India. So for them to look a little fresh, because they've also, their legs are not that tired, they're bowling fast, batsmen struggling a bit, is just such a pleasure, because the point of it is the bat ball ratio is so badly skewed in favor of batsmen in tournaments like the IPL that on the odd occasion when bowlers are looking good and giving the batsmen a hard time, it just is a pleasure.
Now, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but given that it's a relatively modest total, the lowest put on by a side batting first, if they get off to a good start, will Kolkata start thinking, not the best net run rate, can we improve on it?
Oh, I think it would be late in the piece. I think it would be, maybe 50, 60, 40, 50 runs away. They'd need to be 80 or 90 for one, I would imagine, before they considered Andre Russell in at 4. That would be the way I'd play. Owen Morgan's not going to muck around anyway. If he's coming in at number 4, he's going to be, quite aggressive as per normal. So they can think about it, but they don't want to be thinking about that from the start of the innings and all of a sudden be 3 for 40. Because that then would they'd start to feel the jitters of game number 1, and they'd be thinking, oh no, we can't even chase 140. So they want to be secure in that sort of 60, 70 mark, maybe 80 for 1 before they start to think about that net run rate, I think.
Joy, happy with DK at 3?
I'm happy with DK at 3. And you see, the one advantage Kolkata does have is that they have at opening one person who has ice in his veins. I mean, Sunil Narine does not care whether the target is 240 or 140. He knows only one way to bat. So that's a huge advantage for you, because he's not going to change his style of play anyway. Anyway, he's going to go for it. So look, I love this batting lineup, because what they've obviously said is DK will be their number 3 and Morgan and Russell will alternate as being the finishers. If Morgan needs to come in earlier, he'll come in earlier. If, they'll float him, they'll float Russell to 4 if necessary. So the idea is to keep that flexibility there. But the upfront talent, DK leads the upfront charge, Morgan marshals the back. So there's an anchor up front, there's an anchor at the back. And I think that's how they're planning their innings every year. And see, we saw the worst of KKR in the last match. Things they couldn't do right, the inexperience, the fact that, if Sunil Narine doesn't get off. Maybe today you'll see what KKR's positives are. The fact that they have 2 of the most brilliant, hardest hitting players in the game. They have players like Morgan and Karthik, excellent players, and Shubman Gill, who's still not really shown the world what he has.
Yeah, we did tell you that. Yeah, go ahead, Simon.
Sorry, no, it's a good point. I think this is a good game set up for Shubman Gill. It's not a big total. It's a chance for him to get into the tournament. He doesn't have to be overly aggressive up front. So I'd like to see him just build an innings a little bit at a strike rate of 115, 120 to start.
Yeah, remember that Sunil Narine was our pick as our My 11 Circle trump card, and we showed you the history that on more than one occasion against this opposition, he's got the team off to a good start, a good power play. That's a quick reminder of those numbers, 2018 twice and 2019. And those power play scores are the kind that they would probably want. And the reason why we've also brought up the power play scores, gentlemen, is because before we wrap the show, we need to have a second shot at the My 11 Circle badge of honor, because we didn't get it last time around. Hyderabad just didn't get enough runs, even though we had a scale from 150 all the way up to 180. So, gentlemen, power play score for Kolkata with Sunil Narine all set to fire.
I'll go first, and I'm going to say he will fire today. 73.
Ooh, that's a lot. Joy?
That's big. Okay, fine. 65. I'll stay close to that number.
Yeah, I'll be a little more conservative. 55 is my score. 55 at the end of 6 for me, for Kolkata. And that's where we stand right now. It's the lowest chase as far as this tournament is concerned, but it can still be a tricky one. Remember, at least in India, Hyderabad are known for defending low totals. Can they do it here against a Kolkata side with plenty to prove after their opening game? We'll be back with Cricbuzz Combox in the 10th over, and we'll wrap everything up on a Saturday night. Hopefully, it won't go to Sunday morning on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.